Hey there, people. I'm Betty, a 29-year-old woman, happily hitched to my incredible hubby, James, for 3 sweet years. Now, let me tell you a little tale about my live-in mother-in-law, Sandra. Sometimes in life, you have to step out and let people realize your worth on their own, right? So, Sandra has been a permanent resident in our household since day one of this marital adventure. Now, let me be real with you all. Sandra's the classic type of mother-in-law. Sweet as pie when folks are around, especially in public, but behind closed doors, well, let us just say her sweetness meter took a nosedive. Sure, she threw a bit of shade my way, a nag here and there, but this tough cookie was not crumbling any time soon. James, my knight in shining armor, saw through her act and called her out, making me fall for him even harder. She even tried the old wedge between us trick, but nope, that ship sailed. But hold your horses, because Sandra decided to up her game. Lately, she had found a new way to spice things up by attacking my little bead and crystal jewelry career. Yup, you heard it right. 1 year ago, I quit my gig as a business owner and joined a big jewelry company to work on their designs for them. Crafting these beautiful pieces of beads and crystals became my passion, my baby, and let me tell you, Sandra was not thrilled about my newfound job status. She started poking her nose into my job, criticizing every bead and crystal like she was some kind of jewelry connoisseur. But hey, I stayed strong. This job was my dream, and ain't nobody going to rain on that parade. Her reaction to me quitting my business was where it all started. Hey Sandra, there's something James and I wanted to talk to you about. My small home business wasn't doing very well, and I applied to a few places with my portfolio, and guess what? I got a job at that jewelry brand I have always talked about. What? You make decisions like they don't have any consequences, Betty? Who's going to help me around at home now? Mom, seriously, we should be celebrating right now. I'm just saying she had a perfectly fine little hobby that allowed her to earn a few bucks while helping me around the house. This job can do us a lot of wonders, Sandra. They really like my portfolio, and they even talked about a potential raise after the first year if I keep up with the work. Hope it's more successful than your little home business, dear. We would not want you relying on us for a living, would we? Women like you think they can be successful working women, but in the end you all end up being stay-at-home moms, living off your husband's money. Look at me. I was a teacher, earned respect and contributed to the community. The children and the parents loved me. Sandra, I respect what you have done, but people have different goals. I won't be asking James for money, don't worry about that. And the worst case, if it does not work out, I can always find another job or get back to earning the small bucks you are talking about from my business. Mom, Betty's successful in her own way. She's confident, and please try not to bring her down. Well, we'll see how long your dream job lasts. It's not easy out there for fragile women like you. From the day I made the bold decision to get a job, Sandra turned our home into a battlefield whenever James was away at work. In those initial days, while I was busy with my new job, I would often bring my pending work home to complete it on time, ordering beads, hooks, and crystals for the first batch of designs. I could feel Sandra's negative energy buzzing around me like a persistent mosquito. On countless occasions when I was engrossed in calls with a marketing professional, strategizing how to give my jewelry the right branding and a significant boost on social media, Sandra would deliberately taunt me. Betty, who are all these people you're chatting with on the phone, trying to act like you were the big boss now, huh? I've never seen someone so deep in their own head about being a little designer who works with beads and crystals. I hope you're not fooling yourself into thinking you are some CEO. From the moment I decided to go to work and focus on my career, a whole new saga unfolded around household chores with Sandra. Initially, the division of chores between us seemed fair, reflecting our shared responsibility for the house. However, as days passed, Sandra's participation in household duties dwindled to nothing. I found myself shouldering the entire burden. Each morning she handed me an ever-expanding list of tasks to complete throughout the day. The list at first included typical chores like laundry and vacuuming, but it soon transformed into a laundry list of her personal demands, which I used to do before going to work. In a matter of weeks, I found myself not just maintaining the house, but also attending to Sandra's personal requests. She wanted her closet cleaned every 2 days, and her room tidied up after her mess, and even expected me to handle the dishes she carelessly left on her bed. On top of that, she insisted I cook her favorite meals, which were not only time-consuming but also added an extra layer of stress, especially when I was juggling a job. It felt like I was becoming a personal assistant rather than a partner in maintaining our home. "Betty, I need you to cook dinner for my friends who are coming over tonight. I'm going to take a nap and there are 4 of them, so make enough food." "Sandra, I can help you for an hour, but I have got a meeting afterward. I got to juggle my time wisely." "Just an hour? My friends are coming and I want everything top notch." "Sandra, I have been pulling my weight around here and also going to work. I can't keep dropping everything for your constant demands." "You never have time for the things that matter. This is for your husband and me. Can't you show a bit more dedication?" "Sandra, I can't be at your beck and call 24/7. I've got my own stuff going on." "You are becoming lazy." "I am not lazy. I have responsibilities too." "You should prioritize your family. You are my daughter-in-law after all. You should listen to me." "I'm sorry, not today, Sandra. This is important for me. I don't want to disappoint my boss." I rushed to my meeting after helping Sandra out in the kitchen for an hour. The meeting went surprisingly well, and I was in high spirits as I returned home. However, as I stepped into the living room, I noticed it was empty. The atmosphere felt tense, and the aroma of food lingered in the air untouched. Curiosity and a bit of anxiety led me to Sandra's room. I found her on the bed, and James was standing in a corner, his expression a mix of frustration and disappointment. "What happened here? Why are you upset, Sandra? Didn't your friends come over?" "Betty, this is all because of you. I was stuck in front of the stove for hours and I passed out. No one bothered to help me. I'm tired of managing this house all alone." "I'm sorry if you had a tough time, Sandra. I had an important meeting. I could not just cancel it." "Important meeting? Important meeting? You are always off somewhere, neglecting your responsibilities. I had to cancel my friends because of you." "Come on, let us not fight, Mom. Betty, Mom is not feeling well. Maybe you can help her out a bit more."
"Sandra, I'm already doing a lot around the house. I usually listen to you, but this time I had to say no because of my meeting."
"Oh, so now you're too busy for us. You never think about anyone else but yourself. This is all your fault. You are becoming more and more selfish."
"Let us calm down. Mom, like Betty said, she's helping you out as much as she can. So maybe try to be a little more understanding."
"It would be better if you guys leave me alone. I had a tough day and I need to rest."
So James and I headed to our room after that whole ordeal with Sandra. I could tell he was not entirely surprised by her reaction. "Yeah, I kind of figured she was overreacting. When I got back from work, I heard her singing loudly, and as soon as I said, 'Mom, I'm home,' she stopped. It's just one of her attention-seeking acts. Honestly, there's nothing I can do to deal with Sandra. She puts on these shows to grab attention once in a while, and I promise you I am trying my best to balance work and house duties. I often think about Sandra, and I don't want to put the whole responsibility on her. I'm so sorry about this. You know she can be tough to deal with sometimes." I was on cloud 9 as my jewelry designs at work were taking off. The decision to leave behind my small business had worked wonders. I was no longer a nobody, and I was getting praise from everyone at work. The sales from my first batch were impressive, thanks to partnerships with influential models. However, despite my success, Sandra was always there, ready to cast a shadow on my achievements. One day, after a particularly good day at work, I returned home with a sense of accomplishment. The plan I had envisioned for myself was gradually falling into place, but as soon as I stepped through the door, there was Sandra seemingly poised to sabotage my happiness. "Betty, we need to talk. Your responsibilities at home have been piling up. I've had enough of this. I'm tired of handling all the chores alone. You barely do anything around here." "Sandra, that is not true. I still manage to handle half of the chores before leaving for work every day." "Half? That's not enough. I should not have to do everything by myself. You are just using your so-called job as an excuse to avoid your responsibilities." "I am not avoiding anything. I have found a way to balance work and home life. Besides, I have achieved some great things. We secured a partnership with a popular influencer and our sales have been soaring. My boss is impressed with me." "Sales? Who would want to buy the jewelry you design? I've seen it. It's nothing special." "Well, you might be surprised to know that our designs are getting attention. We recently got featured in a local magazine and people are showing interest in our unique pieces." "Betty, whatever you're doing with your jewelry designs, it is not a real job. It's just a hobby and you are wasting your time on something silly. You should look up to someone more influential like me, but instead you're on a path of being a total flop show." After enduring Sandra's constant criticism, I reached a point where I'd had enough. It felt like she did not recognize the effort I was putting into making things better for us all. For the next few days, I decided to maintain my distance. I would go to the job, come back home, and James and I would have a silent dinner. Sandra did not seem inclined to apologize, and I was standing my ground. James had noticed the tension, and we continued our routine without involving Sandra in our conversations. 2 weeks passed, and Sandra's birthday was approaching despite our differences. We had a tradition of hosting a party for her, inviting her friends and ex-colleagues. Sandra loved going all out for her birthday celebrations. Even though our relationship was strained, I believed in the importance of celebrating people on their birthdays. I did not want to continue the silent treatment during such a special occasion, so I decided to talk to James about it. "James, I was thinking about arranging a surprise birthday party for Sandra. I know we have not been on the best terms lately, but I thought it could be a way to mend things, at least for a day." "Are you sure you want to do that, Betty? You and Mom have been having your differences, and I would not want the party to turn into another source of conflict." "It is okay, James. I've accepted that she has her opinions and I don't want to ruin her birthday for her. This is about making her feel special on her day, and maybe, just maybe, it will open the door for a better understanding between us." "If you think it will bring some positivity, then let's go for it. We can plan something thoughtful, gather her friends and make it a day she'll remember like always." The night before Sandra's birthday, James took her out for a surprise evening dinner, giving me the perfect opportunity to transform our home into a festive haven. As they left, I got to work decorating the living room with colorful streamers and vibrant balloons, creating an atmosphere of celebration. I carefully arranged Sandra's favorite flowers on the table, adding a touch of elegance to the room. A banner with "Happy Birthday, Sandra" hung prominently. I waited in the living room for James and Sandra to finally return home, and when they finally did, there was a look of surprise on Sandra's face. "Oh my goodness, what is this?" "Happy early birthday, Sandra. I know we have had our differences, but I wanted to extend an olive branch. Let us put the past behind us and start afresh." "Yeah, Mom. Betty's been working hard to make tomorrow special for you. It was all her idea. So we both decided to throw a party for you." "Well, isn't all this something? A party for me? That is unexpected. I thought it would be nice to celebrate your birthday together. We've done it every year since James and I got married. We both have put in a lot of effort to make it special for tomorrow." "Mom, it's a gesture of goodwill." "Well, I appreciate the effort, James. Thank you for thinking of me.
I feel exhausted. Time for me to head to my room though and rest for the big day tomorrow. I was shocked. Sandra did not even acknowledge my efforts or thank me for the decorations. It felt like she was intentionally avoiding any connection. James reassured me, saying, "Maybe she'll come around and talk to you tomorrow." The next morning, James and I both took the day off from work. Sandra spent the first half of the day in her room while James prepared her favorite breakfast in bed. Meanwhile, I baked a large cake for the upcoming party, expecting around 25 people. I had also crafted a beautiful crystal bracelet with her birthstone as a special gift for Sandra. It sparkled with elegance. In the afternoon, I decided to personally give the bracelet to Sandra in her room. I knocked gently on the door and entered. "Sandra, can I come in?" "Sure." "Sandra, I wanted to give you this. It's a crystal bracelet I made for you. I hope you like it." A bracelet? Well, thank you, Betty. I suppose it's the thought that counts. I put a lot of effort into it. I thought you might appreciate something handmade. It also included your birthstone to make it extra special." "It's fine. You can leave it there." "Okay, Sandra. I just thought it might bring a smile to your face. Anyway, I will see you at the party later. Happy birthday once again." The party kicked off in the evening and guests started streaming into our decorated living room. I had gone all out to make Sandra's birthday celebration special despite our differences. As the music played and laughter echoed through the room, I could not help but feel a mix of excitement and anxiety. Sandra joined the gathering and I observed her interactions from a distance. She seemed to enjoy the attention. I had prepared a variety of dishes, considering everyone's preferences. The moment finally arrived for the grand cake cutting. We gathered around the beautifully decorated cake, and with a smile on her face, she made a wish and blew out the candles, and the room erupted into applause and cheers. After the party wrapped up, people said their goodbyes, leaving us with the aftermath of a great time. James, being the life of the party, headed straight to bed after a bit too much fun, and Sandra found a comfy spot to chill, probably taking a breather from all the chaos. Meanwhile, I got stuck with a post-party clean-up duty. The once lively kitchen turned into a solo cleaning operation. In the midst of clattering dishes and the dishwasher's drone, the house settled into a sort of quiet. "By the way, here's the precious bracelet that you gave me. I did not want to create a scene before the party, but I can't accept this." "What's wrong? Why don't you want it?" "I don't believe in your job, Betty. Your little talent, as you like to call it, is useless, and I would not accept anything that comes from it. I'm a woman of principles." "Sandra, we had a great time today. Can't we just enjoy the moment? You don't have to bring this up again." "Yes, we did have a great time indeed. That is why I want you to focus on this house. Look how good you are at this, not your useless job." "I can't believe we're having this conversation again. I have explained this 100 times. Your job is unproductive, Betty, and your life is purposeless, if I'm being honest. You are good for nothing. It is better if you stay here and help me with chores. You are a lazy slacker and nothing else. I spoke to my friends today and they told me all the amazing things their daughters-in-law do. Me, on the other hand, I was embarrassed to tell them that you are a delusional designer. Even teenagers can make better bracelets with those dollar store bead boxes. So, what's it going to be, Betty? Giving up on your job or a lifetime of torture? This has been going on for months, Sandra, and I'm honestly done. Do you want me to stop working? Fine. I'm calling it quits. I will call my boss tomorrow and make an excuse. You want me to stay at home and work for you? I will do that. Are you serious? Damn sure I am. Watch me. Thank God you came to your senses. Life is going to be easier for me from now on. I hope you're happy now. I'm done defending myself. If this makes you feel victorious, so be it. It's for the best, Betty. You will see. Now, let's see how useful you can be around the house. Yeah, we will see about that.
Now, let's get back to the dishes. There is plenty to be done around here. Of course, plenty to be done, exactly. So there I was, storming into our room after cleaning the entire house, feeling the weight of frustration and resentment. I climbed into bed next to James, who was still in a deep slumber. The next morning I woke up with a newfound determination. I called my boss and told him I quit. Now, you might wonder how I could easily give up my job just because of Sandra. Well, I had a plan. A plan to make her realize who runs things around the house. Let me fill you in on a little secret about the debt Sandra was under. My late father-in-law left her with a significant financial burden, and there was a monthly installment of $3,500 she was supposed to pay. Sandra, under the impression that James, her son, had been covering these payments, was blissfully unaware of the truth. Guess who actually funded these payments? Yes, you got it right. It was coming from my account, the money I earned through my small business. This was the reason I was always left with just a few bucks that Sandra would mock. Now, with my job, I initially thought I would continue helping her out. But after the way she treated me, I had a change of heart. She had brought this upon herself, and the reason James did not take over the payments was because he was paying our mortgage. I volunteered to take on the responsibility for Sandra's debt while he focused on his goal. But now that I had become the housewife she so desired, I decided it was time to see how she would react when the burden of her monthly installment fell squarely on her shoulders. After the way she treated you, making you quit your job, it's not something I'm willing to let slide. Starting this month, she can handle her own debt payments. I will not utter a word until she gets a call from the debt collectors wondering why the money hasn't landed in their account. We have generously allowed her to stay with us and put up with her constant undermining, and this is how she repays us. I'm all in on this. It is time she faces the consequences of her actions. So there I was, officially playing the role of perfect housewife, just how Sandra envisioned it. Chores, laundry, cooking, you name it, I did it. It was tiring being her personal assistant for every little thing. I felt like I had become the servant of the house. But there was a silver lining, and it was the impending debt payment. Sandra, of course, reveled in the newfound luxury of having someone to manage her affairs. She bossed me around like there was no tomorrow, making sure I was well aware of my duties around the house. It was exhausting, but I kept reminding myself of the plan. About a month later, the big day finally came. Betty, remind James about the debt payment. I just received a call and it's due. Why should I remind him? He's not the one who's been paying off your debt. What do you mean? I mean, Sandra, it was me. I've been using the money from my small business to cover the payments. Even when I got a job, I continued to contribute. But now, since you've made me your housewife, I'm not working anymore. I don't have the money to pay for it. What? You've been handling the payments all this time? I had no idea. Sandra, you wanted a perfect housewife. Well, you've got one. But a housewife doesn't magically make money appear. Since I've quit my job and you've taken away my means to contribute, it's time for you to figure out how to handle your own responsibilities. You think this is a joke? You can't just quit contributing to the debt and act like it's not your problem. Sandra, it was never my problem. I can't believe you're doing this to me. Okay, listen, Betty, I'm sorry about everything I put you through, and can we please go back to the way things were? You can go work all you want. I will manage all the chores at home. I shouldn't have behaved that way. My deepest apologies to you, dear. I should have respected you and your work. Sandra, please quit playing the saint now. It's too late. So after James and I stood our ground, Sandra had no choice but to figure things out herself. She sold some of her jewelry to make the debt payments for a couple of months. Now the dynamics at home have shifted. Sandra is no longer the bossy figure she used to be. Instead, she's more reserved, showering me with apologies left and right. As for me, I reached out to my previous boss, and luckily they were willing to take me back.
Life seems to be falling back into place. The house is quieter, and I no longer feel like a personal assistant catering to Sandra's every whim. It's a relief to have some peace and to be able to focus on my job without unnecessary drama.